Hello, this is World University and Schools live Hangout on air on Monday, July 8th, 2019. I'm Scott McLeod, and as we wait to see if people will join us, I'd like to share a little bit about upcoming and recent developments. You can find this YouTube video recording from today at youtube.com/WORLDUNIVANDSCH, and also similarly with youtube.com/WORLDUNIVANDSCH. So in World University and Schools developing process, we're seeking further to develop an affiliation with Stanford University. We're already officially affiliated with Stanford Medicine's Stanford Digital Center for Digital Health, CDH. And that's an affiliation, hopefully, that will inform World University and Schools plan 200 online medical schools with online teaching hospitals for online clinical care and also online research. So potentially in all 200 countries, their official and main languages, and also building on the Stanford, Google Verily, Duke University's Project Baseline, if at all possible, which involves 10,000 people, subjects, physical data into online data, and then developing these for a map to health, and then extending this beyond the 10,000 person study, I suspect. So this could become an online teaching hospital in many countries' languages and even eventually for genetic engineering and things like that, with Project Echo, a project I heard about at Stanford Medicine. The specialists to rural populations in group video with a mentoring aspect, spoken about at Stanford by Sanjeev Arora, MD, and this could become a series of online medical schools. They have resources in many countries already. So that's one affiliation with Stanford Medicine's CDH, Center for Digital Health, that we'd like to grow and build on at World University and School by way of news. And World University and School is also affiliated with Stanford Law Codex. Roland Vogel's the executive director there. Robert Harrington, MD, is the director of the Stanford CDH and also the chair of Stanford Medicine. And in developing further with Stanford Codex Law, we'd like to develop law schools in all 200 countries, official and main languages as well, online. Law schools online opens up a whole set of questions with under one umbrella, under the World University and School umbrella, with regard to intellectual property, even with regard to helping to code for legally possibly a single cryptocurrency with blockchain ledger, with potentially even exploring universal basic income experiments. So those are the two affiliations by way of news that World University and School seeks to develop with Stanford further, Stanford Medicine and Stanford Law in particular. And also by way of news, World University and School has postponed seeking our second undergraduate matriculating class till January of 2020 due to lack of funding to help initially develop with World University and School with the Bureau for Private Post-Secondary Education, BPPE, licensing process. So if at all possible, World University and School would seek to affiliate further with Stanford with regard to this licensing process, as well as following suit the accreditation process, potentially with WUaS Senior, Western Association of Schools and Colleges Senior. So that's a further exploration for affiliation with Stanford that World University and Schools exploring. So that's a little bit of news, affiliation with Stanford and seeking our second undergraduate matriculating class at licensing World University and School with BPPE until January of 2020 currently. I'm glad to see that Fritz has joined us in text. No audio for Fritz, voice-wise, no voice technology for Fritz. Fritz, great to see you here, and glad you're participating conversation-wise in these World University and School live Hangouts on air. Fritz types in text chat, "Hi Scott, it feels great to be back listening to your wonderful ideas and being newly stimulated." Great, thanks. Likewise, good to have a conversation, Fritz. Thanks for your sharing your ideas and your questions over a few weeks now. Appreciate this. Do you have any questions or sort of more information technology focused ideas you'd like to share at this point? The focus on sort of keywords or ideas that you've been hearing about, perhaps, as you find your way around Stanford University in this time of being a kind of, I would guess, visiting scholar, visiting research affiliated with Stanford is an interesting opportunity for conversation. If you have ideas or questions or thoughts you want to share in text, I'll read them out and we can converse further about them. I also would like to just touch a little bit about this course I teach, the Network Society, Information Technology in the Global University. I've taught it for many years, and I will teach it again at World University and School in upcoming years. And in particular with regard to a book I'm reading by Manuel Castells. My course is very Castells-centric. I'm something of a Castellian. The book is called Communication Power. It was published in 2009 and with a new introduction in 2013. And it's a fascinating book for a variety of reasons, but it lays out further theorizing of the information technology revolution from a communication perspective, from a sociological perspective, in new ways for me, especially, but I think for other readers of this book, and which I hope to share about in my course I teach again in upcoming months. And I think the approach to his focus sociologically and the breadth of his interpretation has led him to provide a lot of new ground for understanding also different countries' approaches, but in particular how power works for institutions, and newly with regard to the internet, which as a many-to-many technology creates the potential for what he calls mass self-communication. I think this is a very new idea in the information age, and great that Manuel Castells, based on grounded theory, is developing this in this book, Communication Power, 2009, published by Oxford University Press. And what, one of the things that makes mass self-communication different from communication processes, say, in the previous two industrial revolutions, say prior to the development of computer chips or silicon wafers in the 1950s, and everything that's developed since then in the decades between 1950 and 2019, includes the potential for all of us to become communicators and thus shape, as individual writers, authors, web contributors, people's understandings. We can contribute to the conversation, and this shifts the way power is mediated in society significantly with regard to corporations, with regard to governments. The book goes much further than this in so many ways, but I just want to leave you with this significant new sociological theoretical concept of mass self-communication as defining a way that potentially also empowers all of us. So you're posting in social media, you're creating websites, you're blogging, you're adding to YouTube and a wide variety of other video and virtual world content, all rewrites how power is unfolds in the information age. It's not just the power of capital that plays out in very new ways in terms of value, for example, in the information technology revolution. But there are other ideas in the game, so to speak, because of the internet, because of these many-to-many technologies, this infinitely extensible, expanding network of nodes that all connect in real time across the globe and into space. And now with genetic engineering as well, the web is being used for genetic engineering, and it is also in people's bodies, in sensors and pacemakers, for example. So these are remarkable new developments, and I just love to recommend Manuel Castell's book, Communication Power, for you, and encourage you to check it out. It's inspiring as well. His well-known trilogy, The Information Age, the first book is called The Rise of the Network Society. The second book is The Power of Identity. And the third book is End of the Millennium, but all three in their second editions, which were published in the late 2000s, late 1990s, early 2000s, are also remarkable, magnificent in their analysis and breadth, and innovative sociological understandings and writings. But Communication Power itself is particularly inspiring in a way that I found his course that I attended around the year 2000, so about 19 years ago, particularly inspiring. So check out Communication Power, check out his ideas, for example, mass self-communication for one, but many other ones. And if you're reading this book, come to this live Hangout on air, and we'll talk further about it. For example, in subsequent weeks, come in a year from now, and we'll talk further about it. So other thoughts or questions you might have, ideas you'd like to share, Fritz, before we close? And if not, great. Fritz writes, Stanford, indeed, an affiliation with Stanford University appears truly forward-looking, opening up highly stimulating pathways towards education in the digital transformation era. Creating new platforms of communication and sharing information with almost anyone and everyone across our planet interactively and meaningfully is a remarkable opportunity to improve socially driven humanity. Yes, in so many ways. Just as one further instance of Stanford affiliation, one of the recent platforms that World University and School has recently joined is the Handshake platform, which is makes possible the hiring by universities, for example, or the seeking of jobs in a university setting by students possible in very new ways. The platform Handshake is about 5 years old, and Stanford University is in this platform, as is MIT, and so are Haverford, for example, and Reed College, where I went to college. I mentioned Handshake last week, but it's an amazing way, for example, if it's possible in some months, to affiliate further with Stanford University on Handshake to for World University and School potentially to hire student interns from highest achieving universities, and thus impact potentially and even improve through offering jobs and career opportunities, socially driven humanity. So when I initially signed on to Handshake for World University and School, possibly 2 weeks ago, I was able to choose 23 of the greatest US universities. So I added Stanford and MIT and Reed College and University of Chicago and Yale and Princeton and Dartmouth and Cornell and Brown and Penn, University of Pennsylvania. Harvard wasn't in the list. And the University of California's Berkeley and Santa Cruz and Santa Barbara and Los Angeles and Merced, and the list goes on. And in the Handshake platform, in terms of affiliating with Stanford University further, our relationship with Stanford is pending. One of the universities of California has accepted us. We can post jobs online in their career services department when World University and School gets money to be able to hire high achieving undergraduates and graduate students, for example. And we've been turned down by a few. At this point, we're still a startup. But Handshake is another communication platform that will potentially enable World University and School to grow with highest achieving students with specialized knowledge in the disciplines they're studying toward getting a degree for. So that, in response to your observation, Fritz, is one fascinating direction and opportunity that hopefully will offer many opportunities for students not only in this country, but in other countries, in other languages. I think I mentioned last Monday in the Hangout on Air that I looked for the University of Edinburgh in Handshake, and there don't appear at this point to be any, that's in Scotland, any universities in other countries at this point in Handshake. But I think that will change, or other platforms will emerge in a similar way, potentially that World University and School can then begin to offer internships, externships, and career opportunities. We'd like to create enormous numbers of faculty positions online in 200 countries, official and main languages, offering bachelor, PhD, law, medicine, and international baccalaureate high school degrees with time. And so it will be platforms like Handshake for interns and externs that will potentially lead to our hiring faculty, possibly ones we've hired as interns or externs after they've gotten their PhD or their medical degree or their law degree, for example. So all of these are interesting possibilities with regard to both affiliating further with Stanford. World University and School is seeking first and foremost, if we can, to affiliate with MIT and potentially Stanford. MIT because we're developing in many ways from MIT OpenCourseWare in its 5 languages and its Creative Commons 4 licensing into 200 countries' languages for not only bachelor and PhD degrees, since MIT has courseware, undergraduate and graduate, for these, but MIT doesn't have a medical school or law school. So it's great that World University and School is affiliated with Stanford Medicine through the Center for Digital Health, CDH, and with Stanford Law Codex in these regards. Thanks for your observation, Fritz. If you have other observations or questions, please share them. I think we'll come to a close fairly soon, but it's a fascinating time in the information age with especially machine learning. Just yesterday in my weblog, I posted an article from the MIT Tech Review on how really basic machine learning is, and it gives a very great and succinct overview of what machine learning is. I'll post that link in the comments of the YouTube recording so that you can check out both the MIT Tech Review graph and the very short article on machine learning. Okay, great. Fritz writes, that's all on my side for now. Thanks so much for your excellent insight, Scott. Bye. Goodbye, Fritz. Thanks for joining. And if you listening to the video after this or otherwise would like to follow up with World University and School, go to youtube.com/WORLDUNIVANDSCH. Same with twitter.com/same. info@worlduniversityandschool.org is the email address, and worlduniversityandschool.org is the website. And thank you. See you next week, Monday, the 15th of July, 2019, in this live Hangout on Air. And until then, info@worlduniversityandschool.org. Thank you. Bye.